internet, we in the market right now for like a gangsta pet. My name is Matthew Kroll.
And I'm Shahir Dowd, wordness to my turdness.
And this is the only podcast about movies. And we have a special guest today, Shahir.
Oh, we do. Wait, where is she? Oh, I see
Right
her.
here, right meow. I would like to introduce today's guest. With us is producer, writer, host, comedian, and most importantly, the biggest cat lover I know. Show me your kitty's own Chelsea White. Chelsea!
Hey, hi guys!
Welcome.
Oh my god, I'm so delighted to be here right meow.
Oh, my God.
And we had to bring you in because this is the only podcast about the film Keanu.
Yes!
Cat-related movie this week.
Yes, it's the only, I would dare I say, not only the only podcast, but the only major motion picture released based off a feline.
Oh yeah, I mean, finally, a feline in a leading role. Like,
So, no-
how
Yes.
fucking long, can I swear? And
Yeah. Oh, yes, absolutely.
How fucking long did it take
Don't
to
you remember
get a
the movie- do you
cat
guys-
in a leading role?
Do you remember the movie Sleepwalkers?
No.
Horror movie, Stephen King with like...
Starring a
cat.
cat?
Yeah, well...
In the lead role?
And it's a horror
Yeah,
movie.
wasn't that more of a supporting role, Shahir?
No, the cat is... Well, they turn into cats. They're cat
Oh.
people.
What?
They're werecats.
We're cats.
How have I never been aware
It's got
of
the
this
weirdest sex scene between two cat people I've ever seen in my life.
movie?
Also,
Wow.
The Lion King. Moving on.
And Chelsea, as mentioned, you do a wonderful show on the interwebs called Show Me Your Kitty. Tell me, well, for the people that don't know, because I fucking know, tell me.
'Cause you were on it.
Tell me, I was. Tell me what Show Me Your Kitty is.
Show Me a Kitty is a show in which I invite my friends and other esteemed members of the community to show me their kitty.
The cat community?
And
What
I
is it?
chat with the human with and about their kitty.
Who is there as well?
Who is there as well, exactly. So it's like show and tell with your kitty. It's very fun. And we play a little game, sometimes with the human, sometimes with the cat, sometimes at the same time. The cat can show off like skills.
Right?
Zoe, your
Zoe,
kitty, showed
yep.
off her parkour skills.
Parkour. Yeah.
She's very good at
Yep.
it.
Check that app
What do you
out.
think Keanu's skills were as a kitty?
Oh, definitely wearing a do-rag.
Yeah.
And, doing an impersonation of Jack Nicholson was pretty good.
Yeah, it's the little thing on the door. Oh, photos were adorable. But yeah, check that out, guys. If you don't love cats, check it out. But if you love cats, check it out a lot.
Right, man.
Right, meow.
Chelsea, do you listen to us?
I do listen on occasion. I did listen to some prior to coming on. I was trying to do research,
Oh my
but
God.
also when I was listening, it was like I was in bed, like already wine drunk and like trying to listen as I was falling off to sleep.
Were we in
So
bed with
I
you,
can't necessarily
basically?
say that I can like quote anything. Basically, I slept with you guys.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
We had
How were we?
had a threesome.
In your ears.
Yeah.
That's what we hope from all of our listeners, actually.
It's pretty much a threesome in your
and
I was like, I should probably
That
listen to
should
some.
be- That's the pitch for our show. We're a threesome
We're a
in your
threesome
ears.
for your ears. But
so good.
actually, it's more of a foursome because you brought your friend Francis Ford Coppola wine.
I always bring some wine.
It's
with
so
me.
good.
And I
It's a
thought this was
package
so
deal.
appropriate. Francis Ford Coppola wine.
Yes.
Yes, I thought I was saying before we started, this is my go-to wine to bring to like a gathering because it feels festive because it comes with like a little gold, I don't know what you call
It's
it.
like a netting wire
yes.
mesh.
And it's like a $19.99, like a $20 price point.
I like
it's
it.
So
kind
you
of
only
right in the
brought
sweet
it for
spot.
the mission.
It's very smooth. I brought it because I wanted to drink it and pretend as though I was bringing it for the group.
Yes.
Right.
But also you guys aren't drinking it with me, so it's
I will. I'm drinking tea because right now I need to get my voice back. But the second it is, oh boy.
oh
boy.
It's on.
So Chelsea, you probably know that I'm slightly more on the obnoxious film art house kind of side, whereas Matt is more on the modern blockbuster action movie kind of side.
I'd like
Got
to
it.
point out
You're a snob.
how I've trained him to say he's obnoxious at this point.
Oh my God,
How many times did you have to tell him?
Oh, a lot.
a lot, yeah. My film school credentials weren't a big deal.
No,
until-
but they are now. They're a real big deal.
So we're kind of wondering, since we've had a threesome now, which side do you kind of lean on?
I don't
film wise. What's your what kind of film goer are you?
Okay, so first of all, I am not a snob of any aspect of culture. I really hate when people try to shame people, preference shame. I'm big into just pop culture in general. So I guess I would, in that regard, lean more towards Matt as like a blockbuster.
All right, I'm just
fan.
making some notes right now.
I'm
Thank
just
you very
not
much.
like a snob in any capacity, except maybe like, what am I even a snob about? I don't think anything. I like, I don't discriminate against movies or any form of entertainment. I
Well,
like
don't you have a
shitty, weird TV, and I like the Kardashians, and then I like reading about string theory and whatnot. I'm all over the map.
Cheese strings? No.
Yeah.
No, stop it.
Okay.
Stop it right
Back
now.
into the cosmos.
Okay.
Chelsea, what would be, I hate saying like, what's your favorite movie, but like one of your top 5?
Well.
What's a movie you would watch in any drop of a hat?
Movies that like when Facebook first came out and people cared about like filling in the things about like interests.
Yeah.
Movies that were in there were I'm obsessed with the Scream movies. I'm obsessed with the Scream franchise. Back to the Future.
Awesome.
Independence Day.
Oh, so you must be real excited.
For a sequel?
I'm so excited. I love Jeff Goldblum. I want to marry him. I was devastated to find out that recently he married some like 21-year-old chick. I'm like, I could have been that. I could have been a contender. And then I love, like Billy Madison, like all the Adam Sandler movies. I always like Mean Girls. I like.
Yep, Mean Girls is great.
What else can I quote? What else I feel like I'm leaving out something very important. Oh, Wet Hot American Summer.
Yes.
Like Bible.
Yes.
I don't know. That's the
New one
ones that
coming.
come to mind.
New series coming. New movie from Netflix.
Is this true?
Yeah.
I just like caught wind of it, but I didn't fully research.
The 10-year reunion that they talk about with the Trapper Keeper full of appointments.
God, it's gonna be so good.
It's gonna be good.
Yeah,
well, all right.
so
We'll
I'm
look
all
forward.
over the map, but I guess nothing on there was like artsy fartsy.
No
so.
Last Year at Marion Bed or anything like that.
No,
That's me being snobbish right now. I'm going to try to
straightforward,
No,
mainstream.
Shakir, keep doing it.
Okay. Well, just if this is your first time listening in, you can reach us at onlymoviepodcast@gmail.com or hit us up on Twitter at onlymoviepod. We've recently been more active on our Facebook page, putting up polls and things like that. So hit us up on Facebook as well. And this week, are we going to read out an iTunes review?
We do actually have a iTunes review of the 5-star variety, which I always enjoy.
Hey, Matt.
Yes.
They're all
big
5-star
time.
reviews.
And next thing you're going to say that the person I'm going to read from is someone who's actually been on the show.
Hey, Matt. Ivan Kand has been on the show.
God damn it. No, he gave us a nice 5-star review saying we were a solid movie podcast and the only one. And he basically tells us that, we break down movies at a structural level creatively, yada, yada, yada. And, Matt has a godlike radio voice. That's not why I picked this one.
Oh, come
Thanks,
on.
Ivan. We got to get him back on, and not just because he was so complimentary, because he deserves a better film than episode 3.
I think that's what we gave
of
them.
Star Wars?
Star Wars, yeah.
So
Fuck
thank you,
that.
Ivan. And yeah, guys, please rate us on iTunes again, 1 to 5 stars. Just anything, and however you feel. Do it.
Constructive criticism.
Yes,
Because it rates so that people can find you more easily.
Yes.
Like the more reviews you get. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Rate them, guys.
So, Keanu.
Keanu.
Are you guys fans of Key and Peele?
I love Key and Peele.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love
It's
Key
hard.
and Peele.
I think it's like shooting fish in a barrel. Who isn't a fan of
Who
Key?
would say that
I don't
they
think I've ever
dislike
met-
Key and Peele?
Yeah, like that.
Have you
No,
ever
they're not
met-
really for me.
Yeah, no, they're pretty
would
much
say that?
universally great, right?
Yeah.
Like everyone loves them.
100%.
I gotta say, well, unless I don't know, maybe this was sort of one of their first things, but I wasn't really introduced to them until I think probably in a way that maybe a lot of people were when they're like NFL like sports.
Oh, the
thing, like,
sports names?
went viral.
Yeah,
with the
yeah,
sports
Oddly,
names.
no, I didn't. I wasn't introduced to them through that either. I don't
Really?
know that stuff at all.
Ugh,
I know the show, and I've watched the show a lot, and I walk around saying,
Well,
"You wanna go to-"
that was on the show.
That was on
Yeah,
the show,
yeah,
yeah.
but
And then
I-
it like went viral.
but that wasn't the one you had seen.
No, the thing I
Okay.
saw is like substitute teacher. If you
Right.
guys,
Oh,
you know,
that's a good one
Do you
too.
want to go to Warbalake? I would walk around saying that like
Yeah.
every day for no reason.
That's a good one too.
They were they were 3 seasons, right? They had 3.
I believe so, yeah.
3 or 4.
So
yeah.
that was just one of those shows, like, you knew you could just turn on and it would be great. Like, I don't think I ever turned it on and was like, oh, this one wasn't really that funny. Like, I just had, they were a staple when I was like, I need something that I'm not expecting, and B, I know is good.
Right.
I'm 50-50 on
Really?
that. I would say there's definitely hit or miss, but the thing was that when they hit, they really knocked it out of the park. You know,
Sure.
like Substitute Teacher, I think, is one of the best sketches ever written.
And something that I find interesting about them, but also when you review a comedy film in general, I feel like I want to say this up front. It's really hard to do. I think comedy is the hardest thing to actually critically review, because what are we reviewing?
Right.
Are we reviewing the technical acumen of the film and how it was actually created, what we actually saw, how it made us felt, how much we laughed, how much the story was crafted versus, what are these weights and balances? What matters?
Yeah.
And it comes down to obviously personal opinion, which we will get into in a little bit.
No doubt.
But I always find it funny because even when I was writing notes for this, I was being very critical, and you'll hear my criticisms later, but I was like, but I was laughing.
Yeah.
Right.
So like,
yeah.
at what point do you not break down things more? Like, when do you stop?
Yeah.
Because this movie, I mean, I guess I'll just start because I'm rambling.
Go.
But like this movie overall, before we get into plot breakdown and spoilers, I really enjoyed. Though, if I had to pick one sort of criticism about it, I felt like it ran too long, and not necessarily even from and this is going to be weird, but from a length perspective. But I feel like just scenes just kept going, and a lot of times you can find a lot of comedy with that. A lot of their sketches is them just sort of beating the horse until it's funny again, and that when it works is some of my favorite laughing time.
Agreed. Yeah.
But when and in this film in particular, when they spoke to one another and had those moments when it was just them going back and forth and riffing, like that worked for me every time.
Right.
But scenes that didn't always have them in it when they went on too long, I felt weird about. And that sort of threw me pacing wise off, and then that's what got me started more on the technical aspect.
Yeah.
But overall I liked it.
Yeah.
Sure. Overall, I liked it. Yeah. What do we do? Like an overall?
Sure.
I don't want to skip ahead.
No, you can do
go
overalls.
Nuts. Go
and-
nuts. You're the guest.
Yeah.
How
do you want to do it?
I don't want to take control, but
Yeah.
I'm going to. No, I really was entertained overall, but I agree. I thought that there were some. For how much I love Key and Peele and how much, like you said, Matt, like it seems like they never disappoint. I was not laughing as hard as I thought I would at the scenes that the cat was not there.
Yeah.
And overall, I just wanted more cat.
Yeah. Okay.
I
That-
mean, I
that makes
wanted
sense.
more cat, and then if though I could accept that there wasn't, you knew that Keanu wasn't going to be in all the time because obviously that was the plot was
Right.
that they were trying to find Keanu. But then I thought the times when Keanu was not present, which I mean, like I wasn't even like listening, like I'm like I don't know what happened in those scenes. I was just like, Kitty. But then when the cat wasn't there, I didn't think that the like gimmicks in the scenes were like particularly funny. I thought it was far from their best work. Like I can't even think of anything I wanted to quote afterwards, anything that
Right.
we were revisiting, anything that we were like, oh my God, and then that time, or like when they said this, you know, like as opposed to like talking about what's one of the names, Mouse Cop or whatever, like one of the NFL names are that like I would say
Yeah.
every single day of my life.
Yeah, yeah. No, I completely agree with both everything you said, and I just want to like read the plot summary because I don't think we actually gone over it, but not because I don't think it's important that much. I think if you've seen the poster, you've probably got everything you need from the plot. But friends hatch a plot to retrieve a stolen kitty by posing as drug dealers for a street gang. Now, the reason I wanted to read that out is that sounds like a comedy sketch, and that's what the movie is.
Right.
It feels like this is one of the sketches that they had written that maybe didn't make it onto the show that got extended into a movie.
Sure.
But my other theory
Good point.
is that like it did come as a surprise when they decided to kill the show off after 3 seasons. It was a very successful show.
Yeah.
And it was doing like every clip they put on YouTube would get like 10, 20 million hits.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, whoa.
Well, they left, right? Comedy Central did not bring it back.
they decided
they said
wanted
they were
They
done.
walked away.
Yeah.
and here's the thing, my thinking about it, which is that this is a strange concept for a film by these two guys, given that they have so much expectation. Like they've done so well online, they've done so well on TV. Like now they're going to jump into feature films. In my brain, I was kind of like, oh God, they must have a killer idea for a film.
Yes.
And then they came out with this trailer, which is like, it's about these two guys and this cat, who love this cat, and they're trying to get it back, and they get embroiled in this drug dealing scheme. And in my brain, I was like, oh, well, I wonder what they got up their sleeve, because it's kind of a goofy plot. And then when you saw the trailer, it showed like the big guns, explosions, drug deals, Louis Guzman's in it later on in the film. So it's kind of like, okay, maybe they got something going here where they've got like an idea to take a sketch and make it really big. But so to continue on with thought about like my thoughts on the film was that it felt like to me what had happened was that they quit.
What had happened?
Yeah, what happened?
That they quit the show and they were like, okay, we got to make a feature film. What's it going to be? Instead of we've got this killer idea for a feature film and that's why we're quitting the show. And I think the thing that you guys are talking about is that I didn't laugh that much and I didn't find it, like I think they're endearing, both those two guys when they're on the screen by themselves.
Right.
They're fun. But also a lot of the comedy was kind of like playing off their greatest hits, like we had like the two bellboys who are like, oh, that Liam Neeson's movie was amazing, and it was a substitute. It was the movie was Substitute Teacher.
Yeah, there was a lot of fan service.
Yeah,
which I never have a problem with, but
and
it was there.
I think Jordan Peele, who can play the slightly more effeminate version of those two guys, like being in love with George Michael. And trying to like prove to gangsters that George Michael is real gangster. That's kind of funny, but it's in the movie for like 40 minutes. And it's like at 40 minutes it doesn't play, and you're sort of like, what is it? Where is this going? So to me, the way I would describe this film is kind of in the same way I would describe Deadpool, which is that
careful.
I think Deadpool is cool. I don't think it's a very good movie. I think Key and Peele are cool. I don't think this is a very good movie.
Two things. I'll touch on that, and I also have a secondary theory about how
the
this.
gauntlet has been thrown.
I know.
You're getting in the middle of this.
Yeah. So actually, no, before we get onto the Deadpool analogy, let's go back to what you said about how this movie got made. Like you thought maybe they had a great idea,
and that's pure speculation.
I know. Here's my speculation. Here's my counter argument. Not even argument. I just think it's another thing that could happen. I think this is basically the studio safe movie before they're vetted enough in the system or whatever. Like, yeah, you guys are huge on the internet and TV. Make like they probably had a crazy script to go forward, and they were like, back it up. Yeah. And then they sort of pared it down to this, like, because if you take this could be any comedy action movie about trying to retrieve a thing or a person.
Yeah.
I mean, it's The Hangover is sort of with that.
Right.
It's not. They're not like
it's weird
pretending.
How the cat is not like a big factor.
No,
in this
the
movie.
cat is the prize.
But it's not. But like there's like 40, 50 minutes where the cat isn't even in the movie, and it's not part of the story,
which is fine. But like, it's what I'm saying is it's a very generic. Action movie, like Let's Be Cops. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Yeah,
and I liked Let's Be Cops, but it was basically like, oh, let's take two of the guys from New Girl and put them in this thing where they accidentally are mistaken for cops and they get addicted to pretending to be cops and they're actually helping people. Then they get tied up in this whole thing and then blah, blah, blah. This is, oh, these guys are trying to get their kitten back. They have to pretend to be gangsters. Oh, now they always think they're gangsters. Now they're gangsters. So it's this fish out of water comedy to get a thing back. It feels way too commonplace for Key and Peele.
Exactly. Every sketch they do is great.
That's a good way to put
That's
it.
my point is I bet you this movie was probably crazy nuts to the point of like a Tim and Eric Awesome Show kind of nuts, like maybe a little dialed back because they're obviously a little bit farther on the spectrum. But like, I think this was probably pared down to be like, all right, this is your first movie out the gate since you've been doing TV. Let's make it a little bit more formulaic. You can still do your stuff. You can still be you. And I think maybe that might be where the pacing sort of fell apart for me. Because if that is true, I bet you there was crazy stuff that needed that breath in there, but then the breath never went away when it got taken out. Again, all speculation on my part.
Yeah. Chelsea, did you guys?
No, I mean, I agree. I think it felt to me watching it like a movie I would have made in college.
Yes.
It felt like, oh, and now here's what's supposed to happen. Like when you just like are brand new at it and trying to figure out how the fuck to make a movie. Like, oh, now we need a plot thingy here. Okay, what if it says we should have a thing? What if it's like he likes George Michael? Okay, here's what needs to happen in this scene.
Right.
So let's make this scene happen.
Yes.
It just felt very, I mean, for lack of a less basic word, it just felt very basic. It felt very uninspired. It didn't feel like it had the Key and Peele like quirkiness and like sparkle. It just felt very like, okay, I get it. George Michael, like you said, like this should be funny fundamentally, I guess, that he's trying to get gangsters to like George Michael, but like it's not funny for
that
half an
scene,
hour.
the scene we're talking about is a scene where there's a drug deal. We'll get into it, but like it's that in conjunction with the other scene going on at the same time with a special cameo, which we'll also talk about, just goes on for fucking ever.
It's
like
too long.
back forth, and you could cut like 5 minutes out of it and you'd be fine.
By the way, I got that wrong. It was Keegan Michael.
Did you name them wrong?
Key. Yeah,
you
I got
flipped the names.
Yeah, I got them wrong. But that's fine.
Yeah.
Look, and the thing that's disappointing about that is that their TV show was a breath of fresh air, and they seem to be so smart about movies. Like the thing that was cool about their TV show as well was how cinematic it was.
Yep.
It was
Good
like these two
point.
guys really like. And so the thing that's disappointing for me is that I was kind of hoping that their first thing out the gate would be would like blow open the doors as to like, like this is what we really can do. And it's not that. And the thing I started thinking about a lot of TV people that make the transition to film. And I try to think about the people that did it really well, and the one that really comes to mind is Edgar Wright. You guys know?
Oh,
Edgar Wright?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Shaun of the Dead.
Okay.
Your favorite movie,
Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Scott Pilgrim versus the World, and he and
Almost Ant-Man.
Yeah, almost. He and Simon Pegg had that great show, Space. Did you ever see that?
Oh, yeah. Have you seen Space?
No.
It's on Netflix, I think.
I
You
watched
should
it
check
on
it
Netflix.
out.
It's British. If you like sort of British humor, but
Yeah.
it's Simon Pegg's sort of first thing he ever did.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
It's really, and it's not as polished as Key and Peele were.
No.
It's in fact, it's like they've got no money. And you kind of don't see the cinematic potential when you watch that. You're kind of like, these are just really funny dudes
Right.
making a really fun show. And then, like, they came out with Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg wrote Shaun of the Dead. And the thing about Shaun of the Dead is amazing. As a first film, I think it's just phenomenal. And it is like, it's a similar thing. It's basically two guys stuck in the zombie apocalypse, but don't realize it's a zombie apocalypse.
Right.
So they kind of bumble around like idiots, and then come up with like some stupid plan to go to the pub instead of like saving themselves or something like that. And it just, the thing about that film was that you clearly felt like these guys were going, okay, we're making the step into film now. We really got to step up our game.
Right.
We got to and they really did. That is a movie that just, I watched it again recently. It just works on every single level. This, Keanu is just not that. It, like you say, I think Matt, I think you're 100% correct. This feels like the safe.
Meow?
Yeah, I know. How did that happen? This feels like the safe bet movie, and
Yes, it's very safe.
Yeah.
it made money. I hate to say it, like the audience that I saw it with seemed to be enjoying it.
Yeah.
Why do you hate to say that?
Well, I don't think it's very funny. I think they're enjoying it because it's like Key and Peele on the big screen.
I think it's funny enough.
Right.
That's the weirdest thing to say about
Yeah.
a cop. Like, this is not a Wet Hot American Summer. This is not something that I'll be quoting, or even an Anchorman when Anchorman first hit, or any of that sort of stuff. Like, it is. I enjoyed my time. I laughed a bunch enough. And I laughed enough.
Yeah.
And then, but then even like when we were trying to think of, we mentioned quotes. All three of us mentioned quotes earlier today. We start the show off with the quote.
Yeah.
And I had a really hard time trying to figure out what quote I would start with. And at first I was like, I'm having a hard time with a Key and Peele movie figuring out what quote to say.
Yeah.
Like, that's nuts. But yeah, real quick, you thought you'd get away from the Deadpool thing. The reason
Take us back.
the
there.
reason why Deadpool works, I do agree. I think there's sort of that similarity between the two, being like, it's basically fan bases keeping it alive.
Yeah, it's the safe version of that film. And I don't
but
think,
the difference is Key and Peele, the Keanu is the safe bet.
Yeah.
And Deadpool to me is the fan bet. It's everything fans wanted to see, while still being like, well, if we have Deadpool on the screen, the character, for an hour and a half, people will fucking hate him because he is a character that gets old quick. So they did something very clever, I think, with the narrative, building it around him, but like, you don't see him in the suit and being Deadpool as Deadpool for more than, I'd say, a half hour of the film.
Right.
And that's fine. They play to their strengths. They pop it in when they need it, and then it's gone. Because again, it would just get old quick. This is sort of the different problem of, they didn't lean into their strengths enough, but yet they still tried to sort of play the movie off on strengths that weren't quite there.
right.
And I wanted it to be there, and the pacing did feel like it should have been for something more zany, I guess. So that's why
Yes.
the differences between. But let's sort of get into the actual
Spoiler territory.
spoiler
Go.
territory. So if you haven't seen Keanu, bring your favorite four-legged friend of the feline variety and go do
God,
it.
imagine. I wish they should have special screenings.
They should.
You know,
Will you
Tanuki
bring
would
your
flip
cat?
his shit.
Oh my God, Tanuki would lose his goddamn
Tanuki is
mind.
Chelsea's cat.
I saw you like Instagramming like photos outside, and your quote was, "This is my Star Wars."
Yeah.
Yeah.
In which case, I think your version of Star Wars is exactly my version of Star Wars, which you came out disappointed.
That. All right, I won't keep defending old movies on this. We need to move on. Old movies are 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you want to break down how it starts, or actually, Chelsea, tell us, how does the movie start? Do you remember? Because this is the
Well,
fun part.
It started with me filling up a wine bottle to go and putting it in my purse. And then when I got to the theater, the movie started like this. No, I mean, well,
Wait,
yeah.
did you ghetto wine like your movie?
At the movie theater, we always bring like little wine roadies. Like I filled up. Like,
I'm doing it. I feel like we're talking about this. It's Coppola wine. I'm just going to pour it
I
right in
filled
the
up
mic.
like a little. Actually, it was a water bottle from our friends Matt and I worked
Flavor
together.
Lab.
Flavor Lab.
Yeah, shout out to
Shout
Flavor
out
Lab.
to Flavor Lab.
Brian Quill, best audio man in the business.
He is
Also
the best in
enabling
the biz.
Chelsea's alcoholism.
Also enabling alcoholism
Thanks, Brian.
for
Miss
two
you.
quality pieces of work.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, the beginning is arguably the best part of the movie, right?
When the drug deal gone bad.
It's an amazing action sequence. Drug deal gone bad. You see that Keanu belongs to this drug dealer, and they get. I mean, what even was happening? They like get busted or something, and they're all getting shot.
Oil and Smoke Dresden, the Allentown boys, also played by Key and Peele.
Which I didn't realize until
Really?
the very end. I didn't. I was too distracted by the cat. And the end of the movie, I turned to my friend and I was like, that was them?
Oh, see, then that worked. Then that
Chelsea, go
worked
back to sleep.
in the right way.
Worked,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, they come in, bust the deal up in a brutal fashion. They're shooting, they're doing all kinds of stuff. They're doing backflips for no reason off of things while shooting people.
Girls are like making drugs, like wearing just their bras.
Yep,
Yeah.
as they do.
Why not?
I was thinking about that because that happens in all drug movies,
Yeah,
men and
all
women.
drug-
Is that so they don't? I don't know the reason.
You didn't
for
watch
this.
New Jack City? So New Jack City, they explain this whole thing, which is
It's
that
really a thing?
it's so
yeah,
that-
it's
yeah,
a thing. It's,
Drug shirtless?
Is it hot or is it because they don't want them stealing shit?
Don't want them stealing shit.
That's
you can
why.
al-
No
so
way.
so in New Jack
Oh, I
City,
didn't
you
know
just
this was a
have
thing.
people like walking around naked.
I don't know a lot
like-
about drug dealing, I
Well,
guess.
I know a lot about New Jack City.
drug creation.
Right, drug creation.
Yeah.
Yeah, dealing isn't anything.
Yeah.
Creation,
Well,
it's kind of a mystery. to me.
because and again, it's just
Farm to table, Chelsea.
Where do
Farm to
drugs
table.
come from? I don't know. They just show up
it's
at my
the part
house.
where they're bagging the drugs
Right.
up. Those
I'm
people.
the one who knocks. That's about as far as I know about it.
Right. So that is a thing in drug deal movies, like, and I think what was funny in this one is they had like a fat dude. Like,
Yeah.
whenever a movie does that scene, they always have like a hot chick or something like that in there, but like this one had like a big fat dude.
Yeah, sure.
That's fine.
So they come in, destroy everything, kill, and then there's little Keanu who's left, and the big bads pick him up.
I did like his slow-mo run.
Yeah.
It
The
was such
slow-mo run was
a
great.
great scene. It
Like,
was so well shot.
An action scene going in slow-mo a la The Matrix, and a little kitten running down like steps. And there's a part where it obviously wasn't planned, but the kitten accidentally runs into, it's in the trailer, one of the dude's heels and like bounces off him and lands like a step lower.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh my God, this cat's in danger.
Yeah, it's really well done.
I actually didn't think this was a great scene.
Really?
No,
I liked it.
I really did. Because like to me, the
It's
thing
so
was
dramatic.
it was so escalated action movie that I was like waiting for the joke.
Well, the
And
joke pays off later.
but it wasn't much of a the backflip.
The backflip.
Yeah,
Because when I saw the backflip first, and we'll get to what I'm talking about later, when I saw the backflip, I was like, okay. And like, then it came back to the cat and I was fine.
Yeah.
But like, I was like, I get it. There's badass. But like, I thought it was gratuity for no reason. Turns out it was gratuity for a reason. Whether or not that reason worked for you, that's
Right.
I just didn't I didn't feel like the joke paid off. Like I liked seeing the kitten run through the scene. Like
Right.
that was funny. Or that was fun, I guess, like change focus of the scene,
Yeah.
but I didn't see the joke in the scene itself. I just thought it was like kind of like they were doing it felt like like they were doing an action movie, but just not like in that sort of way that like we've seen action movies and this is what we think should happen.
I took it as kind of parody of action movie because it
Yeah.
was a bunch of bullshit for bullshit's sake, like
Yeah,
the
I
flip and
agree.
and like the cross shooting.
But it
like,
wasn't. But like the
agree.
parody wasn't like there wasn't like a big joke in this. It was
Well, I
just
thought
kind
the
of,
cat was a joke.
Well, yeah, I feel like it's not even like either. It doesn't have to be a joke. The interest is that there's a kitten in an action scene. I was just impressed that they got the kitten to do so much. I mean, I get
that's cool.
Also true.
So to me, I was just watching and I was just very impressed that they got this cat to be in this very, orchestrated scene where like the cat is running through and there's like
I
people
love
being
the
shot
slow-mo
and
of the
people
cat. I
flipping.
think the slow-mo of the cat's
I
cool.
was just like impressed by it. And
Yeah.
to me, that was enough just like watching this insanely choreographed action sequence. The little kitten participating.
How did they? Animal training still vexes me to
Yeah, I
this
have
day.
no idea.
I understand the concept, and my cat Zoe will do certain things, but only because I've trained her like over a year to sort of do them. But like
Right.
this kitten is new; it's a baby, it's a little kitten.
And there's probably like 4 different Keanus,
Yeah,
right?
but like,
Yeah.
how do they train a kitten to
I mean-
do things?
I mean, they're just
No
training
clue.
it to run. I mean, in that scene, it's
but
just
later
running
on,
in a
like
line,
it's
right?
like crying at the right time and like doing
Wait,
this
the
other
kitten
thing,
cries?
and like clawing at a certain thing.
Yeah.
And remember, because like I'm saying like timely things like this is Keanu. Oh no, when he opens the front door.
Yeah.
But that's just a sound effect.
But the cat opens its
Yeah, cat opens its mouth.
Yeah, I mean, I think that. I mean, no, I don't want to disparage animal trainers on films.
No.
Because
And I don't know how much of
amazing
this was CG and how much of it was an actual kitten.
Yeah, no, they do it. And like, what to me, what was impressive about that shot was that the shot was choreographed with the cat. So it was like, like they had to be on a slider or a dolly or something like that. And it was moving in slow motion. So they had to, and they kept the cat in frame in like a mid shot. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. It was like a lot of this movie for me is that I didn't feel like the joke really turned it on its head for me. You know, like it didn't turn the scene on its head.
And I'll say as we move forward, but there's a specific point about halfway through the movie where I completely agree with you for the rest of the movie, but I hadn't gotten to your opinion there yet. At this point, I was like, all right, I'm in.
Yeah.
Then we cut to the Key and Peele's alter egos, the full main characters of the film, Rel and Clarence.
Yeah.
And Rel's kind of in a rut. He just had his girlfriend break up with him, and he's kind of like the stoner, sort of like more sloppy dude.
Right.
And Clarence is the super uptight
married dude
whose wife is going away with another dude's husband and another husband of a friend, and their two daughters or something.
Rob
and,
Hules.
Yeah. And like they're gonna go away on a trip, so the wife wants Clarence to like really like live it up and like just do stuff for him because he's always just too perfect. I guess
wound up.
That was like that whole plot line that you described.
Oh, it fell flat.
It fell flat, and I felt like it was underdeveloped. Like
I bet you there's some scenes in there on the cutting room floor of that.
Yeah, good point.
Because I didn't feel like that whole thing where he was like, I need to go live it up over the weekend. Didn't really feel. I was like, oh, did she say that? Did she really want that to happen?
Well, it's to Chelsea's point too. It's like the script is doing things to make the script do things. It's not sort of character driven or whatever. It feels very like it feels collegey. It feels
so
sort of
collegey.
like, and then this happens because we need it to happen. So we need a reason for uptight Clarence to just go unwind. Like, and it can't be real or Rel because he is so depressed. He's not in the state of like, come on, man, let's go. Like that's not where his character's at.
Right.
So anyway, wife goes away, and Rel finds a kitten. He names it Keanu on his doorstep.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't he?
And they become best friends instantly. And obviously Clarence comes over and they falls in love with the cat too. And Rel has been doing movie scenes in photography with the cat, where if they don't sell that calendar,
oh my god,
did you buy that calendar, Chelsea?
Of course,
that
I would.
calendar.
I would buy it right meow.
Oh, right meow. Hey, there's no tomorrow.
Perfect.
Whoa, yes. Chelsea, by the way, is the queen of cat puns, so they will be flying fast and furious. Tokyo.
That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said about me.
Oh, so they go. I'm trying to remember, why did Clarence and Rel leave the apartment?
They went to the movie.
Oh, they went to see the
Substitute Teacher movie
with Liam Neeson, the best Liam
Neeson's movie.
Yeah,
this is and I think we mentioned it before, the that thing which is that Trey Parker and Matt Stone, also two guys who went from TV to feature films really smartly, like
Broadway,
and but when they did like the South Park movie, it was like that needed to be a feature film, and that was like they were taking their idea and making it huge.
Yep.
So and they, like we've talked about this interview that they gave where they talk about the one of the key things in script writing is that every scene you should jump from scene to scene, not with a and then this happened and then this happened. It should be a and therefore this happened and therefore this happened.
Yeah.
And there was and like when what happens is Key and Peele go away to the movie and then they come home and their house has been broken into, and it's like I know
Keanu is gone.
And Keanu is gone. And that really felt like to me like a and then this happened and then this and then they go next door and they find their neighbor is a drug dealer played by Will Forte, and and then he leads them to this, and it is like this whole and then this happened and then this happened, and it wasn't like a real because the drug dealers were around trying to find this, like it just felt like there were beats missing to kind of like get us from scene to scene.
Yeah. No, agreed.
And then the real bummer of the thing for me was like Will Forte, who I think is awesome. And like, have you guys watched Last Man on Earth?
No, I need to.
Last Man on Earth is so good, and he is so good in it. And I was kind of like hoping for him to like kind of steal the show. He's got a bit part in this movie, and he's kind of there.
Yeah.
I don't know. How do you guys feel about
Well,
it?
I feel like all the bit parts are just kind of there in this movie. You want to talk Anna Faris, you want to talk Method Man, you want to talk whatever.
Let's talk about Anna Faris in a minute.
They're just there. Like, but I mean, they're there. I don't know. It's a double-edged sword, right? Because the fact that they're there is funny, but then also like Key and Peele are just funnier in a weird way in the script, especially. So it's just like, well, I guess we'll get our famous friends to play these people,
right?
Anyway,
so jumping ahead in the movie. Go on.
So they get back. Keanu's gone. They shake down the drug dealer to find out where the 17th Street blips are, which I thought this was a very funny joke.
That was funny.
The people that left the Bloods and the people that left the Crips are now the blips.
Yeah.
And where do we find them? On 17th Street. Oh, okay.
That's funny.
So they go to a strip joint called HPV, which was. I loved that name.
See, I love the name, but I thought that like this was to me an example of a joke that was like overplayed. Like it was kind of like all you needed to see was the sign just saying HPV, but then they show the sign and then I think Key says it, and then says it's unfortunate.
It's like inside the club and
they say it again and again, and I was like, you just needed to like this. That joke needed to just be like a one line aside, and you kind of like chuckle at it and move on.
I don't know. I think this. Maybe it's just a matter of like, because again, that beating that dead horse joke thing, like maybe that was one where they started to and then gave up. And then sometimes they go too far and it's not funny because it's not them. Sometimes they go too far and it is funny.
Yeah.
But like, I like, because the whole thing is fish out of water, right? They walk into this club and they have to pretend to be basically like thugs, like drug dealers.
Yeah.
To get anywhere in this world to try to help to get Keanu back. And I like that they always had their asides with one another being sort of the mouthpieces of the audience. Like the audience, they don't belong in this world, yet here we are. So there they are. Like I like that they kept doing it. And I think one of the things I like the most about this movie is their nervous banter back and forth.
Like
I think, again, their friendship is so...
Those two guys, I think, on screen on their own is funny.
Yeah.
They're great. And they're so likable. You know, like they're just completely likable on screen.
So yeah, they have to pretend to be gangsters to go see Cheddar, played by Method Man, who is the head of the 17th Street Blips.
Up from the 36 chambers.
Yeah, and then they go up and they basically fool them into thinking they're the guys we saw in the action scene in the beginning. The Allentown boys.
Yeah.
Allentown.
And up to this point, the script is clever enough where when they bumble into saying the right thing, it works.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's why I was like, oh, this is good. This is good. It's following the right thing. And they have to go to prove them. Oh, no. They decide to get Keanu back as an offer of good faith. Cheddar will give Keanu back to, and he has a little gangster, little do-rag on a chain.
Remind me, now I'm forgetting, what was the thing that they said that made Cheddar believe they were the Allentown boys?
It was, they were just sort of being super, I don't remember the specifics, but they were being super coy about it.
I think they were just being vague
and talking like in super vague terms, and like they got a little bit threatening at one point. Like, this is sort of gets into later where I have a problem, but they basically at one point, I forget which one of them. Oh, it was Rel, because he's being kind of he's like,
he wants the cat back.
Yeah, but he's also like, you need to calm down, like because Key is overacting basically.
Right.
Yeah.
And when he finally threatens the cat or something, he says he can't have the cat. That's when, excuse me, Peele basically goes full fucking gangster and gets real hard, real quick, like dead eye stare, like big fucking like threats.
Yeah.
And then Cheddar's like, okay.
Yeah.
So that worked that one time.
Right.
Right. And it felt good in that moment.
Yeah.
And then they have to go on this mission. And if they do it as an act of good faith, they'll give Keanu back to them.
Yeah.
So they go on this mission with a cadre of people. What was it? High C, Stitches. I don't remember the other two characters' names.
Trunk.
Because
Trunk had my favorite joke of the movie.
Okay.
You know, like his joke, because he's named Trunk because he left his keys in the trunk of his car once, and then later on in the movie they like close the trunk. He's like, and he just pops out at the side. He's like, "Don't lose your keys in there."
Yeah.
And I was like, bravo.
Yeah.
See, that to me was like a great aside joke. That's like the perfect link to that joke, because it was like just a funny callback.
Yeah.
Had me enough. I laughed.
So they have to go deliver some drugs to the Hollywood Hills, I guess.
Yeah, and this is where your girl comes in.
Girl, I love Anna Faris.
I think she's hilarious.
her.
Yeah, because she was in the Scream parody movies, right? Like the scary movies.
Chelsea, break down what happens in these. So there's two scenes really that goes on here.
Well, so okay, in the car, Clarence, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Stays in the car with Trunk and Stitches
and the other dude whose name I
the
can't
other
remember.
dude who we don't really care about. And then Rel goes in with High C, the chick, the like gangster chick and all this, and they're supposedly Rel is like supposed to be teaching High C, and Rel and Clarence are supposed to be teaching the other guys like how to drug deal, which also that whole premise seemed very bizarre. Like
It's
you need
bizarre.
to be taught how to just fucking drop off drugs to
Yeah, I
celebrity
thought
in the
this was-
Hollywood Hills.
well, that was the thing.
Why does Cheddar need them to teach his goons how to?
This is where the
drop
crack,
drugs?
the crack in the armor shows because I thought they were going to go and it was going to be like a violent.
Yeah. That would make sense narratively.
It was just like literally, hey, celebrity, here are your drugs. Cool. Well, see you later. Okay, so they go in, but obviously, though, it doesn't exactly go according to plan. And it turns out that it's Anna Faris they're delivering the drugs to, and some dude and some chick that she's with. And Anna, they're already like really high, really fucked up, and they're trying to get Rel to stay and do drugs with them or like watch a movie or whatever. They were just like, stay, play Truth or Dare. They finally start playing Truth or Dare.
Why would you ever choose Dare?
And why then High C, the chick picks Dare, and Anna Faris dares High C to shoot Rel.
Now, see, as we're describing this makes no sense, and it's not funny. It's not absurdly funny.
No,
it's just kind of absurd.
Yes,
and I don't know about the Anna Faris. Like to me, this whole scene kind of fell flat on its face.
There's one bit, and you're right, it did. There's one bit that worked incredibly well for me as far as a celebrity cameo way a movie does this sort of thing, and that is we meet Anna Faris first.
And then you don't realize, I
mean, we all know watching it's Anna Faris. That's great.
Yeah.
But it could just be some crazy rich, coked out of her fucking mind girl.
Anna Faris is playing a crazy
rich
girl.
And then about halfway through the series of these scenes, Rel goes, loved you in those movies, by the way.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? And then it's, scary movie, da-da-da. And then it's literally, you find out in the narrative of the story that this is Anna Faris.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree. That was fun.
I like that a lot because you would, I peeked at your note, Shahir, I'm sorry. You put akin to this as the Bill Murray in Zombieland cameo.
Right.
But the difference is in this one where I think this one works sort of better than that one.
Oh, really?
In a way, because this one sets it up and the joke's like, here's Anna Faris playing a crazy cokehead. Fuck, it is Anna Faris. Like, where they were just hunting for Bill Murray. Like, they weren't hunting for Bill Murray, but like they knew they were in his house, then they met him. Like, we always knew Bill Murray was Bill Murray from a person being told the story. And I'm not saying one method is better than the other. I think for whatever reason, this Keanu pulled it off, the cameo, a little bit better. But that's where my compliments will end.
Yeah, and I think that's a very like subtle, like little thing in a bigger picture.
But a lot, I know. But like those little moments sort of kept me going and going and going to this point. Like it do something great and then fall, then great, then fall, then great, then fall. Then after this halfway point, after this drug deal goes down and they end up shooting Anna Faris.
They end up because High C pretends like she's going to shoot Rel, and then of course she doesn't. She kind of like hits Anna Faris in the face with a gun so they can get out, and then it escalates, and then like another guy picks up a gun, and then everyone ends up dead. Other than Rel and High C, and they escape into the van where Clarence the whole time has been teaching the other gangsters about
George
Michael and how great he is, and they're skeptical, but then he's kind of plays it off as like, he's like, they're like, but dude, like, is he black? And he's like, well, he's light-skinned.
Light-skinned, yeah.
So then they come back to all the gangsters like singing along with Clarence to George Michael, and they've bonded over George Michael at this point. Meanwhile, everyone in the house has been murdered, and they're like, let's get out of here.
Well, so did this scene work for you, Chels?
This is where I feel like this was the first moment where I was trying to be on board. I was like, okay, well, that wasn't that funny, or that was kind of so-so, but we haven't gotten to the meat of it yet. And then and to your point too, because you're bringing up like how George Michael, the gag just played out way too long. This to me was when I remember thinking to myself in the theater, like, this feels like something I would have written when I was 21, like for an independent study or something, where what would be like kind of quirky, but kind of, oh my God, like what if he got real hardcore gangsters to like George Michael? Like it just feels very... It misses the mark.
Yeah, it's strange that it misses the mark for two guys that have like, they seem to hit the mark so well in the TV show.
Yeah.
So like, what happened? Was it all just like shitty studio notes, or like?
I just think this movie got rushed out. Like,
and I tend to lean on the shitty studio notes thing, even from I think it's shitty studio script notes. Like I think they shot whatever script that they were, but like,
of course,
but like, Key and Peele wrote it. I know. This is all conjecture, but like, it's just you can. I don't know, I hate saying shit like this, but like from being in the business.
Right.
And again, not film, not Hollywood,
No.
television, but like you can sort of see when you're watching something, especially when you see a pedigree, if you've watched 50 things from a group of people and then the 51st is like, huh?
Yeah.
And it's a new medium for them, like chances are it's not them that made the bad parts bad.
Yep.
Well, yeah.
Or, I mean, yes, they can the style change can mess up people's flow and sort of creative juices, how stories are told. I'm not saying every great sketch comedy show can make a wonderful movie. Hell, how many Saturday Night Live movies were awful?
Yeah.
But it's hard to hang on your vision. And that someone sent me an article recently that was an article about Prince's untimely passing.
Oh, I haven't even seen anything about Prince.
Have you guys heard
No.
that Prince passed?
Oh.
Sorry, I haven't been on Facebook for a month.
It was, but it was really the end of the article was what my friend pointed out to me that, you know, we were relating to it that was interesting. And the author kind of was speaking to like this one time I worked with Prince, and, you know, she's like, it's not an article about how, look at me, I worked with Prince, but
Right.
just making the point that the reason that Prince was such a great artist was mainly because, I mean, yes, he was a genius, he was talented, but he was one of the few and far between who was able to push his original authentic vision through
Right.
Right.
and to actually, you know, make it come to be, where through like his label notes and through on all the bullshit. And I mean, to the author's point, like that is a huge,
Achievement,
skill in and of itself, and something that's very hard to do, to like have your vision and to push through all of the like everyone around you telling you like, well, I think you should do X, I think you should do Y, I think you should do Z. So I mean, that feels to me like what happened with this movie. They probably had a different vision for it, and they're just like, whatever, you want us to do this weird fucking plot thing? Fine. Like, let's just get this movie out here, you know?
I agree. And like the person I think about in that same respect is Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah.
You know, like you think about a dude who made films that like seem to be unpopular, and like, you know, if any studio was giving notes on any of these movies, it'd be like, what the fuck are you doing?
Of course.
But you know, he pushed through, and I think, and to your point, Matt, which is like, can studio notes, you know, change a film entirely for the worse? And yes, they can completely. And the thing about making a movie to me is that, especially if you're a director in charge of the movie, is that part of the thing about directing a movie or directing anything is that everyone's telling you which direction to go in and which direction to do it this way, do it this way, do it that way. And the strength of directing is like being able to hold on to your vision and sticking to it even when people tell you don't do it. And like, you know, and keeping that, because I've done the opposite of that, where I've like totally caved and like fucked up, and then I like, it's whenever I watch that film now, I'm like, fuck, I'm such a douchebag. I really should have just stuck to my guns on this. Or other, you know, the opposite end of it is when you stick to your guns and then you do it and you're like, realize that it was a fucking stupid decision.
Right.
You know, so, and I feel like we give these guys the benefit of the doubt because the TV show is so good.
Right.
And the thing that's disappointing is I feel like they came out of that TV show with enough clout to be like, fuck it, we're going to do this movie our way. Like, I feel like...
It just feels like a bad deal. It feels like someone signed the wrong contract and didn't have final say on a thing.
But to your point, Chelsea, is like these two dudes weren't just like, you know, two dudes who pitched a comedy. These two dudes had this huge TV show, really successful. They could come out like motherfucking Prince right now and say, we're going to make this movie. And it feels like they it's one of those two things where they either didn't have a great vision for this movie
and just got tripped up in the format change here.
Or did have a great vision and kind of like didn't quite follow through on it. You know, we don't know which is, and again, we say it with love because we think these guys are great.
Yeah.
Of course.
But the film doesn't deliver.
Maybe it was, which of you said that maybe you thought it felt like almost it was a sketch that got tossed in the garbage pile?
I don't know if it's that.
And then maybe it was like, oops, but really this should have been a sketch and not a 90-minute movie. How long was it?
It was 90 minutes. Yeah.
It felt longer than that.
It did feel longer.
Did you think this could be a sketch?
I mean, I guess not.
Hour 38.
Either.
Sorry. Yeah, hour 38.
I do honestly think if you pared back a lot of this movie and you just like restricted your storyline to basically imagine the opening scene with the cat and with Key and Peele in it somehow.
Right.
You know, the joke would be these two guys are just trying to get their cat back.
Right.
You know, like I think this could be a few minute sketch if you really wanted it to be.
Yeah.
and it feels thin.
I don't.
I mean, I think they fleshed it out.
To be honest, we're all being like, what version would be better for this? Like, I don't think it would live in a sketch. I think it'd be too long for a sketch. I'm not saying there's a ton of real important shit to be said, but if you want to tell this story, I don't think 5 minutes is enough.
Right.
I don't think you need to tell the story. I think you just need to have the key sight gags or the key like gag. And
sure, but then I don't know. I don't. Yeah, I guess. But look, someone committed to trying to tell this story,
right.
So here we are. Yeah. But back to this story.
Yes.
So they go back and they celebrate a job well done, but it's not a job well done because they murdered everyone. And yes, they get the cash. But then, like, everyone's congratulating Key and Peele's fake gangster characters known as Tectonic and Shark Tank. They named themselves very quickly.
Yeah.
And, like, they're all like, even High C is like, yeah, you handled yourself real well back there. So, yeah, I appreciate you having my back and teaching me the ropes or whatever the fuck. No, he fucking didn't. In fact, in the scene with Anna Faris, he drops character almost and is terrified and sweating like a fucking motherfucker. So, like,
and there's no consequences. Like,
when that happened, I was like, oh, this movie has now stopped respecting the rules that it set up. And Shahir, you know that I'm big on, like, I don't care what your movie does as long as you set up a group of rules in the beginning and you follow your own rules. The rules were these guys were trying super hard to not let them know that they weren't gangsters. And they pull it off once in the first meeting with Cheddar. But then the rest of the time, it just seems like the script still thinks they're gangsters. So all the characters still think they're gangsters. And we're going to write in lines, you did great, even though the scene before is him not doing great.
Yeah.
And I think, Chelsea, this is something that would be like, that would upset you, is that the cat kind of like,
falls by the wayside.
Yeah, you just forget about the cat.
We haven't seen Keanu in like
a long time.
And it's weird. Like, to me, that's the weirdest thing, which is that your gag is about this cat in a gangster world, like a little kitty in a gangster world, and it's not there. And it's like you lose like the big gag.
I wanted more people to do funny aside things with Keanu. Like when the big bad, the actual Allentown boys get Keanu, they pick him up real slow, and there's these super creepy long hair characters, and they pick him up and they kiss his little forehead and they put him down. You're like, okay, that's cute. And then Rel makes a calendar. I wanted Cheddar, or a Method Man, to like do something else cool with him, like this, have a reason why he's dressed up like that, like be talking to him in a way, or put him in a, like make up him shooting a movie, or like something like.
That's
like
the
meta thing to the film could be like Keanu is the source of all like basically Keanu like travels from gangster to gangster to gangster and fucks up that world like without realizing. And I think the meta thing that could have been fun is that like Keanu goes from like gangster to gangster to gangster and fucks up that world, but it doesn't really feel like, it feels like everyone towards the end everyone's like falling over this cat, and I'm not sure why.
It is the cutest cat, but you don't see it enough, or it's pretty
Chelsea,
damn cute.
Is it a cute cat?
I think it is a ridiculously cute cat. You don't think so?
I don't know. I mean, like,
oh my God, I thought it was a super cute cat.
Like a Scottish fold or something. I would have been like totally into that, but like, but this is like a tabby, like this is just a normal.
Oh my God, but its face was so perfect.
Yeah, big ears, big ears.
Yeah.
No offense to Zoe if she's listening. That's my cat. Zoe's in the other room. It was adorable. She's around.
Yeah.
So this is just sort of where it sort of falls apart. Then Cheddar says after the party he doesn't want to give him the cat yet, and he needs to do one more deal, and they try to pull off the tough guy thing again, and then that falls flat. Also, somewhere along the lines, Clarence's wife calls and says that the dude she went away with was being inappropriate with her, and then what? And then and then that goes away, and that plot line fails. She's coming home a day early.
Weird.
You know what's weird about
to create urgency or whatever.
And there's like a weird plot line right in the middle of this, which is when the first time Clarence and Rel go into the strip club, one of the strippers takes away Clarence's wedding ring.
Right.
And it was like, to me, if Clarence's whole deal is that he is a family man trying to like have like a party night, that should be a huge fucking deal. I lost my wedding ring in the bathroom once and I freaked out for a fucking week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this dude has.
I guess you're just not as gangster, Shahir.
But a stripper took his wedding ring.
Yeah.
That's like.
But then he gets it right back.
Be like,
That's
and then
true.
he just
we never hear about it again until then he just like
picks it
to
right.
get it back.
Yeah, happens to get it back with no sort of consequence.
So when exactly, because this I don't even remember, when exactly does Cheddar and the gang discover that Rel and Clarence are not the Allentown boys?
I think they kidnap Keanu at some point. Like they go in. That's
right. They escape. That's right.
No.
Okay. So after convincing everyone that they are the Allentown boys, they even do like a backflip to the gang before the Anna Faris thing, like randomly to prove that they did a backflip because they somehow heard from this room of dead people that the bad guys who shot everyone did a backflip.
Right.
Maybe Keanu told him.
I don't. And again, that was a weird joke. I was expecting him to like fall flat on his. Maybe that's.
But I like the joke is you're expecting him not to be able to do it, and he does it. And it's wonderful.
Right.
But anyway, they actually during the party or during something, they steal Keanu, but then they run into the real Allentown boys who kidnap them. And like threaten to kill them and torture them, and then Keanu actually, due to Rel's training him to scratch a picture of his old girlfriend's face, scratch that bitch. Manages to scratch his way through the ropes, and they manage to take down the actual Allentown boys. In a moment where like they're like, I don't want to kill anyone, and then they just start opening fire.
Yeah.
That to me felt like the most real moment in a weird way of this film, because like. Oftentimes when you're watching these movies where like average people get thrown into life or death situations and the average person gets the gun, I always wonder like, fuck, like what would I do? I don't want to kill anybody.
Right.
And I'd be very adamant about not killing anybody.
Like in the movie we talked about last week, Green Room, you know, where the average guy gets the gun.
Right. But then like, it's just sort of like, but yeah, I feel like there's a moment where if the big fucking evil thing that's murdered a bunch of people is stepping towards me, I will snap. I'll be like a fucking light switch from like, oh God, human life is important and precious to like, die, motherfucker. Like it's just going to happen. So when that happened in the movie, I was like shocked a little bit, but then I was like, all right.
Right.
I mean, I get it.
Well,
and they had to do.
I think to me, one of the best gags in the movie happens in between all of us, which is where Clarence smokes the holy shit drug, the cross of MDMA and meth and whatever it is.
Oh, is it like a real drug? Holy
I don't
shit.
know. No, that's just what they say.
It's like
that's
a
what they
cross
say.
between
Like just because I've talked about New Jack City doesn't mean like, and just because I'm brown.
Shahir, where can I buy? Where can I huff grass?
This is just like this whole only podcast is just a cover to like sell weed.
Yeah.
No. That to me was like the best gag.
You're talking about when he smokes it and he's inside the George Michael video of Faith.
Yeah, he's in the George Michael. But then the weirdest
down
thing,
to SD. Like I love that they just put him in this SD shitty video.
Yeah, and he's dancing around and kind of like, I gotta have faith. That's funny. It's funny, but it's weird as well because like the whole movie they've been setting up like, holy shit, don't smoke holy shit. It's the worst fucking shit you can smoke, and like people go nuts when you smoke holy shit. And all that happens to him is like he just kind of like has this vision of being in George Michael's faith movie.
And then Keanu talks to him.
Yeah, with the voice of Keanu Reeves.
With the voice of Keanu Reeves.
Yeah. But then, and then he just suddenly gets back his wedding ring. It's not like he wakes up and he's fucking been running around.
Again, there's like no consequence.
That's the theme of this movie.
Yeah.
No consequences. Even at the very end, which we'll talk about in a little bit, there's a slight consequence, still no consequence.
Yeah.
But like, nothing bad happens really to anyone that's not fucking pure evil in this movie.
Yeah.
Anyway, excuse me.
It's weird. I think we were talking before about like how analytical can you get about a comedy film. And
well, I think, yes. And I think the reason why we are all being so analytical about this is the jokes it seems like we all gravitated towards different jokes, and that's kind of a problem in a comedy, right? Like, yes, we've all found something we kind of like, but we can't as a group get together and be like, oh my God, the best part was this, and oh fuck, I'll always say this, and da-da-da-da, ha-ha. Like, there's no one sentence where if one of us said it, we'd all laugh.
Yeah, such a good point.
That's when you start, maybe I just answered my own question. That's where you start to break down a comedy film.
Right.
When you can't get by on laughter alone or camaraderie with the audience that you saw it with.
Right.
That's when it's sort of that's when you have to start. But like, well, what went wrong? Because I know I liked what I watched, but why aren't we having this cathartic sort of universal experience together?
Right. True.
Anyway, that was deeper than I expected to go. But so we move along with the plot.
Was it just deep enough?
Hey, I don't know.
That's what she said.
But yeah, I'm
sorry, I'm that guy.
I'm being the highbrow guy. You're the one that's brought this back to. That's what she said. Jokes.
I'm not a good comedy writer. That's all I would write in comedies.
So they discover after they kill the actual Allentown boys, Cheddar and his gang comes and get him and says, oh, you weren't the Allentown boys. You've been tricking us. Well, now we need you to be our Allentown boys because this other deal that is going down is expected to have them with us, and we need you guys to look the part.
Right.
So they basically kidnap them to do that. They go to
Louis Guzman's
house. And they have one final action sequence where Louis actually realizes that the cat is his brother's, who was the drug dealer in the beginning, and wants him back. And
Keanu's actually called Iglesias.
Yes. And it's a funny thing in this, like, again, it feels like stuff that was either cut in the script or cut in the just the cutting room floor. Like, yes, the cat is cute. And yes, we liked seeing the cat a lot, but we aren't shown the cat enough to see why the cat is this amazingly important thing that everyone wants.
You know, like why? Yeah, you lose the cat.
So everyone, like, the drug deal is about to go down with murder. Like, Cheddar sets him up where Clarence and Rel are now the people. Like, oh yeah, these are the guys that murdered your brother.
Right. And
they're like, oh, they're gonna kill him. Here's like $50,000 or whatever it was. And he's like, yeah, and I'll need the cat too. And Cheddar's like, no. And you're like, what the fuck?
Why?
Anyway, bloodbath ensues, big action sequence, fun. Louise gets away, they chase him, Cheddar dies. Like, again, all this stuff is sort of, it doesn't really matter. They end up on the front lawn of Clarence's house. Again, comedy.
The cat's back, so there's some cute cat things.
Yeah, the cat, it's on the front of the car.
When they're like driving away.
Down, and then it leaps onto Louise because
it's trying to protect, Rel. So, I mean, that's cute.
Yep. But then in typical action comedy fashion, the convenience always happens at the end because they need all characters to sort of converge at the very end of the movie, so that the car crashes in Clarence's front lawn.
And he has his one action liner, which is like, what did he say? Something like, I don't drive stick or you know, like, and basically Key saves him, or Clarence saves him by driving his car into...
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Clarence doesn't know me. I forget what they said.
I forget what the line was.
And then, like, there's, like, again, same sort of thing, like 2 or 3 things where you think the action's over, and then it pops up, and then it's revealed that High C, the gangster girl who worked for Cheddar, is actually an undercover cop, and she ends up shooting
Just so weird,
Cheddar.
because she killed all those people at the drug dealer.
But then they hand wave it at the end. They're like, oh yeah, we hired them.
That's right.
And sometimes we hire...
I forgot.
Because it's stupid.
But so did Anna Faris really
No,
die?
because they talk about that too.
That's
They're like,
right,
oh,
that's
sometimes we
right.
hire celebrities.
That's
and then they're like, great.
That's right. I totally forgot about that. Yeah, they did.
It's
So
such
they
a-
fake died.
Which is, again, that could be like a good comedy beat if it was played out in the right way, but it's just kind of like the way you describe it. It's just a hand wave. It's just kind of like, bring, you know, like,
you could do it if you had the time and the energy to do it.
Like if you brought Anna Faris back into the scene or something like that, or you had
Yeah.
her kind of in prison with them or something
Right.
along the, you know, like just bring that call back to that joke. But
Right.
it doesn't, it's just a hand wave.
Yeah.
It
So then
doesn't-
Clarence's wife comes home and there's no sign. Oh, that he punches out the dude that was inappropriate, and then she's like, "That's so hot, go fuck me now." And you're like, "Okay." They go inside, and then Rel gets arrested, but Clarence doesn't. But he is like, they just sort of don't show Clarence get arrested. Then they're both arrested because apparently they were, you know, dealing with so much. They never actually.
and they've kind of become half gangster now.
Yeah, because now they're in jail with all of their people, like the gangsters they talked to, like George Michael, that had gotten the George Michael tattoo, blah, 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 blah. And then they're all there, and Keanu comes and visits, and then they have the line that I said, or that I didn't say, but Keanu, I brought him to the vet, he has a disease. He's going to be a kitten forever. And it's like, I chuckled at that.
It was kind of funny. Was that like them setting up a sequel?
No, was it?
No, I
was
hope
that
not.
Jim, or was
I
that just
know.
them like hand
As
waving the
much as I
fact that
love
the cat
Keanu.
hadn't grown up in like 6 months?
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Probably.
Oh. How much does a cat grow up in 6 months?
A lot.
Oh, a kitten like that will grow very quickly. That's why. But was that supposed to be a 6-month period?
They come up with a title on screen, right? Like it was like 6 months later.
Yeah.
And then she says he's gonna be a kitten
Got
forever.
it.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Got
oh, okay.
Again, another hand wave, and it was cute, whatever.
Right.
And then the movie sort of ends with them sort of in prison, sort of leading the pack.
So like sort of consequence, but like
Not really.
not really.
Not really.
Because it seemed like at that point that they were like running the prison a little bit.
Right.
Like, so again, there's no, and I'm not, look, we keep saying things like no consequence, and I agree. And then I have to step back and be like, it's still a comedy. But then I step back further and I say the thing that was before is like, well, it didn't quite work. And that's why we tear it.
Well,
we're not
here's the
tearing
problem
down,
with,
we're
like-
picking at it.
No, but here's the problem. It's not that there's no yes, there is no consequence, but there's also no joke.
Right.
You know what
Sure.
I mean? Like the consequence in a comedy should be that there is a payoff for a great joke.
Yeah.
And then great comedies have jokes that resonate beyond the comedy itself.
Yeah.
It's like there's some truth to it, or
Yeah.
or there's something,
True.
amazingly profound. Like to me, again, Shaun of the Dead. The thing that makes Shaun of the Dead work as a film, as a comedy, is that there's these two idiots who are best friends who are trying to save each other from the apocalypse.
Right.
The joke, the thing that makes that film great is that you realize through the course of the film is that these two people like love each other.
Sure.
Right.
And the events of the film bring them closer together.
Right.
And he really, he really like comes to term with like how to make his best friend part of his life.
Right.
And that's a joke that's funny, but also resonates. Like it gives that
Right.
movie like a beating heart that works.
Sure.
And this film, I feel like, again, the cheap way would be like the beating heart has to be about how Clarence helps Rel through his inability to hold down a relationship. He's like a grown man who's like smoking pot on his couch and like, like fails at his relationship and is all sad about it. And
Right.
the cat comes in to save him. And, there should be something again, this is the bad pitch, but there should be something about that kind of holds the film together to make it a movie.
Right.
But there's not, there's nothing like that.
There's a lot of starts and
Yeah.
not a lot of finishes sort of in this movie for things that
good point.
they set up. But
Yeah.
speaking of finishing, let's go to final thoughts. You kind of did yours real quick.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
do yours and we'll do mine. We'll let Chelsea finish it up.
Great.
So do you have anything?
I mean, look,
one more sentence?
I mean, basically, well, everything I said, apart from the fact that I really like these guys. I think, Key and Peele are great. And I think the thing that made their TV show so great was that they were so aware of what films do. Like they were so knowledgeable about what makes a film work and how they can kind of like deconstruct it in an interesting way. Like a substitute teacher is basically Stand By Me flipped on its head. Lean on Me flipped on its head.
Right. I was going to say,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. And so it's disappointing that Keanu, which I think was kind of supposed to be like the action movie flipped on its head, just kind of wasn't. It was kind of just.
So
like,
what should people see it?
I gotta admit, I would have a hard time. No, I would see it. The only way I would see it.
Well, we know you saw it.
Yeah. No. I'm saying I would recommend seeing it. I wouldn't even recommend buying it like on iTunes. I would just recommend waiting until it comes to Netflix.
Okay.
It's that kind of movie to me.
I mean, I'm going to say, it's so interesting now because I would say go see this movie if you like Key and Peele. There's enough of him there, and you add the cuteness of this insanely cute cat. Like this movie lives and dies on those three things.
Yeah.
Key, Peele, kitten.
And if you like those things, you'll probably like it. Yeah.
And I also think I just want. And I don't think that they're going to have a problem. They have such a fan base. I don't think they're going to have a problem to do a second film. But I'm hoping that this movie is enough of a like push or a jumpstart of people being like, okay, you got to do it our way first or whatever, and then they can go with it. Like, I don't know how it played out. But
you want them to break out.
I want them to break out of this. And this movie isn't a bad time at the movies. It's just not going to be something that enters into your lexicon of like greatest comedies of all time,
Yeah.
even if they're your favorite on-screen comedians of all time. It's just not going to happen. So go see it. Support your boys. It's a fine time at the movies, and it kind of has enough for everyone in a weird way, like even just like cuteness of the kitten or like certain references back to Key and Peele sketches. But at the end of the day, it's not a great film. It's an okay film that kind of falls apart halfway through, in my opinion. But Chelsea, final word, right meow.
Right meow.
Two paws up.
I give it. I was gonna say that.
Oh, damn it! I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I was gonna say. I was like, I give it. Well, if it's 2 out of 4 paws, which I guess it would be.
Fair enough.
I guess I give it 2 paws up because I agree with a lot of what you said, Matt. It's like it does hinge on liking Key and Peele and or cats. And truthfully, I feel like it even more so hinges on liking cats because as a person who loves cats and Key and Peele, I don't think I would have been because like we were saying, like Key and Peele didn't like sparkle the way they like usually do. So yes, if you love Key and Peele, you can a little bit look past that and be like, but I still like them and they're trying. You almost just like you want to support them because you like them even if it's not like that fun. But for me, it was almost, I mean, that was disappointing. You're like, oh, God damn, Key and Peele, what's happening? But the parts where the cat was on screen delighted me so much. Like, I don't know if people in the theater loved or hated me and the friends that I went with because anytime the cat was on screen, I mean, just, like we were just like making insane noises and just like kitties.
So you're a big Garfield fan?
I am a huge Garfield fan. I am Jim Davis's autograph. But anyways, point being, yeah, I think unless you're a really big, I think being a cat fan would like pull you through this movie more than being a Key and Peele fan. So I think unless you're as insane of a cat lady as me, just you want it to be like Wet Hot American Summer where you leave like quoting every scene and you just won't. So
Yeah.
It's a shame.
And I do like, I know we made the joke about a feline in a leading role and all that stuff in the beginning, but I do like, cat people tend to get shit on quite a bit when it comes to the
Yes.
pantheon of pet people.
Very upsetting.
Like-
It's weird because I think all three of us are cat people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I love.
I mean, I love dogs too, don't get me wrong.
Of course.
But like, I just, people,
it's socially
I get mad.
acceptable to like
Love a dog.
love a dog and to dislike a cat. That's
Yes.
like what's socially acceptable. But it's not socially acceptable to be like, oh, I'm just not a dog person. That's like you will be murdered.
You know what I think's interesting about cats is they become reflections of the owner, and I think, or the sort of the person even that they're interacting with. So I feel like people. This is just some armchair psychology for me since
love
we're
it.
talking
Go
about
on.
this. People that really hate cats, like, oh, cats are the worst. I think those people somehow see something in themselves when around a cat.
That's
Because
so
dogs-
Did you just
Yeah.
purr?
I went,
Because dogs have their
you're turning
own.
me on.
Dogs have their own sort of like personality that then like bends to their sort of master's will, where cats you have to sort of work around it, and I think they sort of make you reflect a little bit more because they don't give a fuck in a weird way.
I just think people who don't like cats are insecure. I've always said
And
that.
that's sort of
it's
what I'm
really
talking
fucking
about.
true.
Yeah.
And you can email me or you can find me on all social media platforms
Well-
at the Chelsea White if you disagree. But I'm telling you, if you actively, you can just like be like, oh, cats aren't my thing. But if you're a person that's like,
I hate cats. Yeah.
I'm sorry to tell you, you're self-loathing and you're insecure.
There you go.
So think about it.
We should do some more cat. Like we should do a cat movie podcast.
The only movie podcast
Just
about
about
cats
cats.
movies.
No, because I mean like IMDb movies with cats, and like, did you know that there's a movie with Ellen Page called Ghost Cat?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I did.
Yeah.
I did
Really?
actually because
I haven't
people,
seen it, but I know
people
it.
send shit like that to me. Oh, that's what I was like. The amount that I was excited for this movie, I lost track of how many.
This was your
people
Star Wars.
Sent me the trailer. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't even know how many friends like texted me or emailed me the trailer for this, and were like, Chelsea. So yeah, I think that also I was so ready for it to be just
Awesome.
the best movie I've ever seen in my life. That I would quote for the rest of my life. That the fact that it was like.
Yeah.
I'm glad I was drinking while I was watching it.
Aw. Yay. Chelsea, where can people find you
Oh
when
my
you're
God.
not talking about kitty movies?
Well, when I'm not talking about cat movies, they can watch me talk about cats on the internet. I have a web series called Show Me Your Kitty.
I sing that song so
Oh, it
often.
makes me so happy.
I was like, "Show me your kitty,
Show me your kitty.
And then I become obnoxious husband. And I'm like around my wife. I'm like, "Show me your titty." Show me.
Of course. That makes me so happy, though. I feel like the biggest compliment I've ever gotten, I've had lots of people who don't like cats be like, I hate cats. I can't stop watching your damn show. I'm like, you're welcome. But that's at showmeyourkitty.com. And then you can find me on all social media platforms at the Chelsea White. And
The Chelsea White.
Yeah. And look for Show Me Your Kitty. It might be coming soon to
Show Me Your Kitty, the
another
movie?
outlet. So we'll see. It might be
Yeah.
getting another life.
Don't
Yeah.
lose your shine going to another format.
If you're gonna
know,
do Show
for
Me Your Kitty the
real.
movie, it's got to be bigger.
It's going to
Yeah.
be big.
Yeah. There's got to be at least 2 cats.
No, I
In the
have
movie.
faith. I have faith that your vision of cat love
We
will
got a little
power
faith
through.
to-
Check
faith.
check out Matt and Zoe's episode if you.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. When she was doing parkour, if I remember
she was
correctly.
doing parkour. She was showing off her parkour
Yep.
skills. It was very fun.
Shahir?
You can catch me on my website, which is www.shahirdaud.com, SHAHIRDAUD. It has all the links to my Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and all my films and stuff are on there. So you can check out that robot music video coming soon.
Sure it
One
is.
Day.
One day. You can find me at Matthew Kroll. That's MattheWKROL.com. That's my website for my life and works, or Skeletor, the number 4 PREZ on Instagram, or Emperor MSK on Twitter. I have not correlated all of my places as you have, Chelsea. I'm bad at
Tricky.
social media,
No,
so
you're
I'm
doing
like,
great. You're doing great, which is also a tattoo I got.
yeah,
It feels so
Chelsea got an
adorable.
awesome tattoo that says you're doing great.
You're doing great. You should be
Well, thank
you're
you.
doing ... great.
Great question mark.
Question mark? Yeah.
But yeah, guys, this has been the only pod.
movie-
What?
The only podcast about movies.
Yeah, what?
No, and I
again.
was going to say you can reach us at onlymoviepodcast@gmail.com or on our Twitter at onlymoviepod. Also hit us up on Facebook and leave us an iTunes review if you love us or hate us. 2 paws down.
What? No, 2 paws up, 4 paws up, but not like in a dead way, like in a cute, like I'm playing sort of way.
4 paws and a tail.
4 paws and a tail, really happy, waving around. This has been the only podcast about Keanu. Chelsea, thank you so much
Thank
for
you guys
coming on.
so much for having us.
We will have
for
to
having
have-
us.
Having us.
Me and my wine.
Your Francis Ford Coppola wine. She knows how to play it.
We'll see you next week.